matters most to us, offering a comprehensive range of inpatient, outpatient, and emergency care services so you can get the quality care you need right here at home. San Juan Regional Medical Center, celebrating life better here since 1910. KSJE is supported by the Farmington Civic Center, bringing a full slate of entertainment to Farmington and San Juan County. Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street, October 20th through the 30th. The Farmington Civic Center, 200 West Arrington in downtown Farmington. Find out more online at fmtn.org/shows or at 505-599-1148. 11 minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Thursday morning, the 13th day of October, 2022. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Michlin. Thanks for tuning in to KSJE, 90.9 FM, of course, right here in San Juan County, New Mexico, over the air in Durango, Colorado at 103.3 FM. And, of course, you can always listen to us online. We're streaming at ksje.com to every other point on Earth. Welcome also to our viewers who are joining us this morning, because this is a community-supported visual radio station, so the video of this program is streaming out live to the KSJE Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and our Twitter account. So welcome aboard, everyone. Glad that you are with us this morning, because it's time for our monthly update about economic development issues here in the area. My guest, Arvin Trujillo, will be joining me in just a moment from Four Corners Economic Development. And then later on this morning, we'll be checking in with David Mayu from the San Juan College Planetarium. Tomorrow is another Astro Friday presentation, the program this month, From Earth to the Universe. And David will be talking a bit more about that program and what else is visible in the night skies these days. So join us for that later on this hour, 8:50 a.m., right here on KSJE. Mick Hess will be here, of course, roving with the arts. Next hour, Leonard Bernstein and music from Handel coming up on the program. And don't forget, you can also connect with us on our Instagram page, in addition to social media pages like Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And if you're a podcast person, KSJE has podcasts, and they're available wherever you listen to podcasts. Chances are you can find them wherever you listen to podcasts already, like iTunes and Spotify and Pandora and iHeart and Google Podcasts, and the list goes on and on. So we do invite you to subscribe and maybe check out a program that you may have missed recently from KSJE. Outside our studios here at San Juan College, fall is definitely in the air these days. Outside sunshine, 45 degrees at the moment. And we're on our way today to a pretty nice day. It's been really sunny and fall weather this week, as a matter of fact. Take a look at the forecast. 74 for a high today with lots of sunshine, but 40 overnight tonight. Tomorrow, 73 with a low of 39. 75 and sunshine on Saturday, but then take a look at Sunday. A change in the weather with a 50% chance of a scattered shower. Cooler temperatures, 63 for a high on Sunday, 46 Sunday night, 61 for a high on Monday, with more chances for rain and an overnight low of 42 before the sunshine comes back, with temps, though, now only reaching mid-60s. Well, let me turn to my guest, who is here with me this morning from Four Corners Economic Development. Arvin Trujillo is back with us for his regular visit, which I'm so glad he's agreed to be with me every month. Good morning.
Good morning, Scott. Good to be here.
Good to have you back, and thank you for being here. A lot of things going on that I wanted to talk with you a little bit about. The first thing, I guess, is to talk a little bit about the unfortunate, untimely death of Dr. Daniel Fine, a gentleman that both of us knew and talked to, and so that was just unfortunate and really unexpected.
That was really unfortunate and unexpected. In fact, we were planning on having him come in and do a presentation for us.
I remember we talked about that. Yeah,
Ukrainian and how that's affecting the region here. But, you know, Dr. Fine was a real friend of the Four Corners region. He was a real champion for the region. And he brought a lot to the area.
We're showing some video of a previous appearance by Dr. Fine on the station here, but yeah.
You know, he brought a lot to the area, and he had such a wealth of knowledge, and he had such a network within the federal government. I mean, working under the way back in the Reagan administration.
Right.
And then working through and really getting more involved with New Mexico, with the Martinez administration, and really bringing his expertise to New Mexico as a whole, but more importantly to the Four Corners region.
Right.
And a real, real strength of his abilities was able to take complex issues and geopolitical issues, hash that down into layman's terms, and then show how you're looking at it from a global aspect, how it could affect on the national scene here in the U.S., how it could affect New Mexico, and more importantly, even bring it down to how it could affect the San Juan Basin.
Right. He really was a big picture guy, but also the detail guy, too.
Yes.
You talk about all those things.
And, at times during his different presentations, he would make predictions, and he would say, you need to be looking out for this, or you need to be watching out for this. And in many cases, what he was predicting or what he was looking at in terms of his insights became true.
Right.
And you began to see things unfold before your eyes. And so again, he was a real friend. And for me, he was a friend. We talked quite a bit. I remember one time during our discussions, he was kind of sharing with me some of the things that he had kind of done in the past. And at that point, I kind of was looking at him. I said, Dr. Fine, you need to take some time. You need to write a book.
Right.
You need to
At least
tell
one.
your story about what you've been doing, because I said, you've been in so many situations. You've seen so many things close up and personal that many of us just used to watch CNN or the news networks and et cetera, and see what was happening. But I said, you were there. You were right in the midst of a lot of that. And I said, I think it would be real beneficial to a lot of folks just to know what you've seen and how things have happened.
Right.
He would smile at me and says, maybe I'll do that one day, but he says, I got too many things going on right now. And
he did.
And he did.
Yeah.
He did. And so again, it was a real shock to me when I found out that he passed away. But I truly look at him as a friend. He was a mentor. I met him when I used to work for the Navajo Nation. That's when I first met him. He was associate with the MIT group at that point. He was looking at tribes. He was building on what the BIA had done at that point, where the BIA came out with a study saying about 10% of the energy reserves could be located on reservations. He came to the Navajo Nation and was saying, okay, what are you guys doing? And we had a lot of discussions at that point. And then from there, our relationship built. And then when I was with APS, then he was selected by the governor of New Mexico to get an energy policy together for the state of New Mexico. And so again, he reached out to me, and we began to talk and began to collaborate on how he might want to pull that together and how we could get the Navajo Nation involved. And so he developed that policy for, I believe it was Governor Martinez. And then after that, he got involved with Four Corners Economic Development. He was very interested in the oil and gas industry here, but looking at the total assets of the county here. So great friend.
Right. And big loss.
Big
to
loss.
New Mexico and to the country, I
Most
think.
definitely, because like I said, he had so many connections out there. He was helpful with us in the early stages with the rail project, because we were trying to get the attention of the Department of Transportation. And he, through his contacts, was able to get us having phone conversations with them. And so again, he helped open those doors for us as we're now
Nice.
having a bill grant and we're moving forward with this effort. So he was a part of that.
Right, very true. Well, I wanted to take a few moments just to remember him today, and certainly remind our audience just what a big piece of the local economy he played a part in, and New Mexico's as well. So
Yes.
I appreciate you sharing some of those stories with us as well this morning. But talking about some of the other things that you've been involved with, you've been working on asset assessment, I guess, here in the county, correct, or in the region?
Correct. That's correct. We hired an outside consultant to come in to assist us in really looking at what assets do we really have here, and what target areas should we be focusing our efforts on. And it's been about a 9-month process. They've been out here. They just finished their 3rd visit. In fact, that was done yesterday. And again, looking at the data gathering, looking at compiling all that information, then they came back and they presented some initial findings and got additional feedback from a lot of different key stakeholders here in the region. And then they went back and they presented what they saw as some of the areas we should focus on. And they were areas that a lot of them we identified and have been working on, but now we've got data behind that information. Before, it was more looking at it from gut feel, working through focus groups and trying to disseminate through our community what they thought were areas we should focus our efforts on. But now we've got data to back that up, and I'm pleased to say in many cases we were on track. But it gives us more assurance in terms of what do we need to be looking at, and they were able to provide some strategies on how we should be looking at things. So it was quite an exercise, and I have to commend the community for their active participation in doing all of this, because it wasn't me or the contractors that I have sitting in a little corner of a room and making this stuff up.
Right.
It was really working to get the community to come participate, be a part of this effort, and really looking at what their thoughts and insights were in these different areas, and then allowing our contractor to bring that information together and really disseminate what area should we be focusing on.
And when you talk about assets, Arvin Trujillo, what types of things are we talking about? Are we talking real estate? Are we talking geography, infrastructure? What types of things?
We're talking all those things.
All of them.
They did an assessment. They looked at census data. They looked at economic development. They looked at the ag census. They looked at site selector criteria. They looked at all those different things. They really did a real thorough job. And they came back, they said one of the areas we should be focusing on is manufacturing. They said there's a tremendous amount of industrial development here, especially with your small industries, and the ability to retool. And you got Raytheon in the region here. They said that's a strength. Another, of course, is energy. And they were saying that, you have such a vast infrastructure piece here in this region here, that there are a lot of things that we can do to take advantage of that to move forward in diversifying our economy. And we don't have to be focused on oil, gas, and coal. But they said that those are still integral resources that we need to be taking a look at. And again, they said there are alternative ways to look at those. And so they were open on that. They're looking at outdoor recreation and tourism.
Okay.
They gave us a lot of ideas as to what we need to do and how do we need to capture people, and how do we position ourselves with Southwest Colorado and Southeast Utah, so that we're not necessarily competing, but we're partnering with those areas, looking at how we can market the Four Corners region and what we can do here. They were looking at healthcare, which is one area that we really haven't touched on, but they said there's a tremendous amount of opportunities in the healthcare region here.
Right.
And remote workers was another area that they saw a tremendous amount of potential in this region for. And so they were able to take data and look at feedback and really begin to hone in on general areas that we need to be taking a look at. And then they gave us some options on possible strategies that we could follow through. So we're still going to be, this is still work in progress, because I'm going to be working with the community again, really working. And they gave us a whole day on how can we make these decisions? How do we put this together? And how do we then determine what direction the community is going to move forward with? Because again, there are a lot of things there, but we're limited on resources, personnel, funding, etc. So we've got to become laser focused on what we need to be doing. And so they gave us those insights also.
But it sounds like they kind of confirmed some of the things that we've been talking about for a while and some of the things that the communities are doing, like the outdoor recreation piece, right? Because we've seen that push from all levels of governments, from the state down. And some of the amenities that the city has invested in, the county has invested in, and the state as well. So I think that seems to be like we're on the right track.
We're on the right track there.
Some of the things you mentioned about remote workers, I think the real estate market is maybe seeing a bit more of that. Hard to tell, but I would think if you were moving in, from a more higher priced real estate market, maybe looking for a larger home, and you could have maybe a 5-bedroom home here and have two offices for mom and dad, that certainly costs a lot less than it does in Los Angeles or San Francisco or Denver or any of these places where folks are moving here from, perhaps.
And we're seeing a lot of movement happening here in the U.S.
Right.
And we've been successful in having people move into this region based on a lot of work that the city of Farmington's been doing on different website programs that they have to attract people here to the region. A lot of people are looking at our website and looking at what's available here in the county.
Well, and we talked about your website and just how robust it is with lots of information. And so I remind our viewers, if you haven't checked out the Four Corners Economic Development website recently, you really need to go on there when you have a few minutes to spare, because it will suck you in, and it'll be very interesting to see all the different data that is available there. But I'm not surprised that they're using that as a tool as well.
And the thing about it is they even came up with suggestions on how we could even make our website more robust. And we had one of the individuals who's a part of this team is a site selector, and gave us a lot of insights on what he does and how he looks at that job, and how he helps companies as they go and look at different regions to possibly open up new industrial plants, etc. So they gave us a lot of insights in those areas, and so we're going to be looking at that and working with the region on things like industrial parks, looking at how do we prepare ourselves, how do we make ourselves more amenable for people to look at us and say, Four Corners, that looks like a place we should go and investigate.
Right.
And so again, we're working hard to pull these things together, and in a way, it's been a tremendous education opportunity for me too, learning how some of this information is brought together and how we can utilize that information for our benefit. And again, one of the things is they were really appreciative of the website, the social work media that we're doing. And also really one thing that they really complimented the region on was the amount of participation that they were seeing from the community. And, they were very impressed by the level of participation they saw throughout the 3 meetings, and the openness. People were willing to talk, and people were willing to discuss different areas. And yes, there were disagreements during some of those discussions, but again, people were free to do that, and they were very impressed by that.
Well, and I think your organization has sought out those opinions over your tenure and before, I think, of asking people what do we need, where should we go, what types of directions do we need to do, and again, to make sure that you are using those limited resources in the best possible way.
Well, again, the idea here comes back to buy-in. We can't do this on our own. We have to have the backing of the communities to move forward. That's looking not only at the governments here in the region, but we need our businesses to step up and say, wait, yeah, that makes sense. How can I help? We need our local citizens to come forward and say, okay, I understand what's happening here, and this is what we should be doing. Because again, this is an effort that is really community-wide, and it's just not focused on one municipality versus another, but we need to be looking at this as San Juan County. And then how do we bring in the Navajo Nation? How do we bring in the Ute Mountain Utes and Southern Utes as we look at this? How do we look at the other 3 states and partner with them to effectively push the aspiration levels here in the Four Corners region?
Right.
And so again, this is a community effort, and We work hard to make sure that our community not only participates, but they find ways to take an active role in what we're trying to achieve here in the Four Corners area. Because again, we have a lot of challenges there, but my contention is that we have a lot of smart people here in San Juan County, and we can figure these things out and move forward with this effort. Because my concern again is looking at the fact that our major economic driver, coal, oil, and gas, is transitioning. And so as that transitions, we have to have new ways to really diversify our economy, which is somewhat of a cliche, but how do we bring new money into the Four Corners region?
Right. That's true. That's what we need to be thinking about and talking about. My guest this morning, Arvin Trujillo, is here. He is the CEO of Four Corners Economic Development. We are talking about the economic development efforts, and I wanted to save some time to talk to you about the San Juan Generating Station, which, of course, has now stopped producing power for probably the first time in 50 years, as that plant is being shut down by its majority owner, P&M. And there's certainly a legal issue going on with the city of Farmington and some of the other owners as well. And the idea was to try to keep that plant operating and then with the city and their partner of Enchant Energy, install some of this newer technology, this carbon capture technology, and be able to run the plant in a cleaner way and saving all these jobs. But unfortunately, the timing just hasn't worked out, at least the way it was first proposed. And so here we are, end of September, the plant shut down. There's only a few workers left in both the plant and the mine to kind of work on the shutdown operations. And so from an economic development standpoint, that's got to be frustrating that the timing just hasn't worked out when the Enchant folks aren't quite ready to take the reins.
We're monitoring that whole situation, and we've been working for instance, with Westmoreland as well as with P&M.
Westmoreland was running the coal mine, just to be clear.
Running the coal mine. And again, we've had career fairs for the employees to try to help them move should things progress in the direction they have now moved. But we're monitoring this because, again, it's still an economic driver. And we're looking at how we could continue to support the efforts of the city of Farmington as they move forward, them and Enchant. And really, we're wanting to support in whatever way we can because, there was a lot of money that was flowing through that plant. And the trickle-down effect has just been, something that was significant. And looking at different studies, depending on the assumptions there, those studies are showing the overall impact being anywhere from 157 to about 335 million a year in the region, depending on how you look at that trickle-down effect and indirect jobs and all of those aspects. And so again, it was a significant impact, and we've kind of worked through those pieces there. But again, if there's an opportunity to really continue to work and support and see that operation continue, we are very supportive of that effort. Because again, energy here in San Juan County is a main economic driver.
Right.
And that was shown in the study that we did. I mean, energy is still a major piece here, and how we begin to position ourselves in that particular field, especially during this area of transition, is going to become critical as we move forward. And we've got a lot of the infrastructure here in place. So again, how do we take advantage of that? That's the big question right now.
Right, and I wanted to point out, I would assume from this asset assessment that you had done that the high transmission power lines that travel in and out of this area that's providing or transporting this power to other parts of the state is one of the assets that we have that's not going away. Those lines are still going to be here, and
Yes.
so I would assume for some of these other projects that are soon to be starting construction, some solar, maybe some natural gas for power generation, things along that line. Those could tie into those existing assets, those existing transmission lines. Pardon me.
No, I mean, we're looking at those opportunities. We're looking at a pilot project using hydrogen up at Nappy. we're moving through that process, but a part of that is looking at transforming hydrogen into electricity on a smaller scale first. But as we look at that, and if that should become successful in good technology, the opportunities to scale that up are there. Mm-hmm. We're looking at pump storage, hydroelectric here. And again, having the interconnects there will allow this region to export power that's not dependent upon coal or oil or
right.
natural gas. And so again, those are opportunities there. So we do have that infrastructure in place. We've got the pieces. And so again, the idea is, how do we rearrange things in a way that will allow us to continue with our economic growth? As everybody talks about business retention expansion, it's easier to work with companies and industries that are already here than it is to try to recruit a new entity to come in. You want to recruit those new entities, but you still got to work with what you have existing right now.
Right. It's that darn site selector that you spoke with that you got to really convince them, right? In many ways, but that's true. And there are, I just want to be clear, there are some major solar projects that are pretty shovel ready as far as I understand. I'm surprised we haven't seen construction start already, but that's part of the PNM replacement power plan, is to put in some solar here in San Juan County to help replace the power lost when the San Juan generating station did shut down, and that's still part of the grand plan, is it not?
That's correct. There are projects. There were a couple that were envisioned early on. We were working with them, but right now they're on hold for a very number of different reasons. Supply chain is a big piece of that.
Right. But not that it's not going to happen, just that it's delayed because of everything else that's happening.
Everything that we've talked to folks about is things are delayed right now. Nobody has come in and said this won't happen.
Right.
So we're looking at new solar development in the area, and how do we help accommodate those areas. The county's working with different companies to make sure that we get everything in place for the location of those solar facilities. And so again, we're working on those areas, and I think really getting a good feel for what we need to do in terms of how do we begin to diversify the economy? What actions can we now start taking? And a lot of my efforts in the beginning here has been building that foundation and looking at projects. We got projects now.
Right.
And so we're starting to work and move more rapidly on getting these areas implemented, like rail, like the hydrogen project, like the pump storage hydroelectric project. Looking at, and we've got the pieces together with broadband, and so we want to begin to implement these things. And so again, we're moving into that implementation phase now, and really feel real good about where we are, and more importantly, having an outside group come in and really help us with this assessment, and in many cases confirming the directions that we're already going is really comforting, and really helps us say, okay, we are moving in the right direction, and we need to continue to move forward.
Right. Very good. Well, I'm glad you mentioned those things. I just like to remind the audiences that things are happening, maybe not visible, but they're kind of behind the scenes. But sometimes I think we're in Kansas because I want to see them, the show me state. I want to see those golden shovels in the dirt and things moving forward. And so I'm hopeful that sooner rather than later we're going to see some of these things breaking ground.
Well, we're working hard to get to that level of activity here in the area, and I know a lot of people are anxious and about what we're doing, and saying, where is it at? Where are you guys at? And so, at times, again, we run into different challenges as we go, and we're mitigating those challenges and working through those, and working towards finally getting to a point to where we can start showing people, getting the shovels in the ground, saying, here's where we're going to start construction. And so that's the ultimate goals that we're looking at, and we're working hard to achieve those efforts. And so, I'm like everybody else. I want to see things happen yesterday. And so we're working hard to try to get to that piece there. And so again, we're looking forward to it. But again, I just want to stress as we move forward with a number of these initiatives, I'm going to need the participation of the community here. I need your help. I need your insights. I need your participation. We can't do this alone. This has got to be truly a community effort to move ourselves forward economically as we face challenges that are coming up. A lot of things are happening around the world.
True.
And as we spoke with Dr. Fine, things that are happening around the world will affect the San Juan Basin.
Right.
And so we've got to be ready for that.
That's true. Very true. And we'll have to leave it there, Arvin Trujillo. We're out of time, but thank you as always for coming in this month and visiting with me and giving us an update on your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Scott.
Good to see you. Thank you. That's Arvin Trujillo, CEO of Four Corners Economic Development, my guest here on KSJE. KSJE and San Juan College present the Student Success Coaching Tip of the Week.
Hello, it's me, Emin Chi, from the Student Achievement Center. We're bringing you Week 8 of Coaching Tips of the Week. Midterm Tips. The best students pre-learn what they're going to cover in class, often by reading over their textbooks, then taking great notes in class, and finally reviewing all of the materials after class. That may sound like a lot, but it's more effective than cramming for long days and nights before exams. Whether it's math or history, retyping, or at least tidying up and annotating your notes from class is a great way to clarify concepts and help material sink in. Return frequently to previously covered concepts to keep them fresh and utilize them as you are progressing. As you build connections between concepts, you broaden your understanding of the material. Nothing beats flashcards as a study tool, and they are an easy way to notate important concepts for future studying and review. If you don't understand something, address it immediately. Go to office hours, work with a friend, meet with a tutor. Nothing derails learning like building on a shaky foundation.
The Student Success Coaching Tip of the Week, presented by KSJE and the Student Achievement Center at San Juan College. KSJE is supported by the Farmington Museum. What if you could jump into the world of wild kratts and swing through the trees like a monkey, or hunt like a dragonfish? Now you can. Wild Kratts, Creature Power, and Ocean Adventure Museum Exhibit, opening September 24th through January 7th at the Farmington Museum. Tickets at farmingtonmuseum.org. KSJE is supported by Aztec Motocross. Located on Highway 173, Aztec Motocross offers a safe and competitive racing environment for the growing off-road and outdoor industry. Upcoming racing weekends, September 24th and 25th, and October 22nd and 23rd. Also, the New Mexico State Championship Motocross Race Series, October 8th and 9th. Find out more online at aztecmotocross.com or 505-393-5222.
Playing a video game with your mind. It's happening.